As we have learned in earlier chapters, we use the subjunctive when we have three conditions met, one of those being some sort of trigger verb that expresses doubt. From now on, we will be expanding on this theme and seeing how doubt will play a major factor in the Spanish language with respect to the use of the subjunctive. First up, we'll look at the use of subjunctive with adjective clauses. Let's review the conditions that we need to meet in order to be able to use the subjunctive in Spanish. If you recall from our previous present subjunctive video, we have our three conditions that must be met in order to use the subjunctive. We need a trigger verb that expresses some element of desire, emotion, or doubt. We need a que, or a relative pronoun that will introduce a subordinate clause. And we need to make sure that we have both clauses in the sentence. If we have these conditions met, we will use the subjunctive in the subordinate clause. In other words, we will change the verb that comes after the relative pronoun to the subjunctive. For example, yo recomiendo que ella tenga más paciencia. We see our trigger verb in recomiendo, and then after our que, we have our second clause, and in that second clause, we have our verb in the present subjunctive. Another example. Mis padres dudan que hayamos arreglado nuestros dormitorios. Again, we have our trigger verb in dudan, and then after our que, we have our second clause in the present perfect subjunctive. So let's take this to the next step, using the subjunctive with adjective clauses, or with clauses that express indefinite or non-existent antecedents. Both names are used for this grammar element. But the point here is that we are going to express the idea in one sentence that the speaker is not quite sure that something exists, or that the speaker knows that this thing or person does not exist. Take, for example, the first sentence here. Busco un apartamento que tenga una terraza. With this one sentence, I am expressing two different elements, both of which connect with the subjunctive. First, that this is what I want, que quiero un apartamento que tenga una terraza. But there's also something else that I'm expressing, que no estoy segura que este apartamento exista, because I do not know that such a place exists. That is to say, it probably does, but I have not seen one yet. I am expressing doubt about its existence, and I will use the subjunctive. The trigger is not a specific verb in that example sentence. Rather, it is the entire situation that is the doubt trigger. Let's look at a different sentence. Quiero viajar donde haya playas lindas. Now, what I'm really saying with this sentence es que quiero que este lugar de vacación tenga playas lindas. At the same time, no estoy segura que este lugar exista. It is possible that such a place exists. Perhaps I have even heard of such a place, but I don't know of such a place definitively. Now let's look at some of these non-existent antecedents. Here we are focusing on things that we do not believe exist. For example, no hay un lugar que tenga todo lo que quiero. When someone makes that statement, essentially they are saying que dudan que este lugar sea verdadero, or que no creen que este lugar exista. Because the speaker doubts that such a place exists, the subjunctive is used here. One more example. No hay políticos que sean honestos. When someone says that sentence, they are essentially saying que dudan que existan políticos honestos. Or perhaps another way to think about it is that no creen que hayan políticos honestos. If the person does not believe in their existence, then there is much doubt. And this is what triggers the use of the subjunctive. Hopefully, this video has clarified the use of the subjunctive in adjective clauses, or in clauses with indefinite or negative antecedents.